You can outcompete everyone by weaponizing your ego, and Ilia Topuria might be the best example.
I prepare myself not to win because I know that I'm gonna win. I wanna win in fashion. I wanna dominate. I wanna maul people.
The legs.
You've been told that being egoistic is bad and that ego must be ignored. But the reality is that if used correctly, it can unlock your true potential. And Ilia Topuria might be the only ego-driven fighter who actually knows how to win with it. So we'll explore his 4 lessons that can help you use your ego as a tool to discover what you are truly capable of in order to win in any field of your life. But before we get into the first lesson, be warned that ego is powerful, and if you use it wrong, it'll destroy you. So follow these lessons carefully, and that won't happen. The first lesson that El Matador follows is that he doesn't hide his ego and shows it publicly.
If someone did it, I also can do it. And if no one did it, I can be the first one to do it.
1 week before fighting the featherweight champion, Alexander Volkanovski, he changed his Instagram bio to an undefeated champion. He also filmed a documentary about already being a champion years before he became one. People thought this was just an act of arrogance. While he still beat Folk and became the champion, wasn't doing something like that too risky? It was, but that's the point. Ilia understood something that was not visible to those who did not pay close attention. When you publicly reveal your ego by claiming your goals, society will think that you're just being arrogant. But the reality is that you put more pressure on your brain by raising the stakes. You get more motivation, you train harder. It's not about bragging and showing off. It's about pressure. That's why Ilia believes in his hard work. He creates extra reasons to train harder than anyone else. He doesn't say, I will be a champion. He says, I am, and then works to prove it true. The author of the 48 Laws of Power says, act like a king to be treated like one.
I was better than him in grappling, and I proved it. I said that I was a better striker than Josh Emmett. I proved it. I said that about Ryan Hall. I proved it. All the time I say something, I prove it. And
you will outcompete everyone in front of you if you have more reasons to win. However, this lesson would be meaningless if Ilia hadn't known the second and most important lesson. That's right, ego isn't an emotion, and treating it like one is a big mistake. When Ilia was fighting Jai Herbert, he got caught with a brutal head kick that caused him to lose a round of striking. He could have worsened the situation by getting emotional about the fact that he was overpowered at his own game. But this is what his brother told him in the corner. Everyone was expecting Ilia to wrestle because that was the only logical thing where he had the advantage. Even Jai Herbert was ready for more grappling from him, but he was ready for the wrong thing because Ilia went in there and calmly took his head off without using his grappling skills at all. So, if Ilia's first round loss didn't hurt his ego to get angry or unstable, and if he also didn't logically change his strategy like his brother told him to, then how was he able to knock Herbert out with this brutal calmness? The answer lies in how well Topuria understands a human ego. You see, ego is like an instinct that subconsciously tells you what you are truly capable of, and it's never wrong. You can either ignore this feeling and do what's logical, or get emotionally unstable about how someone or something dared to oppose you. That's why Ilia chose the third way, a choice that requires you to calmly listen to what your ego is trying to tell you, and then act accordingly. He didn't want to wrestle because his ego was telling him that this was a new challenge that would push his striking skills beyond its limits. To know oneself is to study oneself in action with another person. So take a deep breath, listen, and then act. The next lesson that helps Ilia Topuria always achieve higher feats is that he never settles for mediocrity. When some fighters become champions, they start to relax because they think they've reached the peak of their career. But the reality is that their ego is always there, telling them that they can become double champs or that they can improve their wrestling game to become an all-rounded fighter. When Ilia first started his MMA career, his striking game wasn't so good because he had been wrestling since he was 4 years old. But then, he calmly listened to what his ego was trying to tell him and realized that he could also be just as great in striking as he was in wrestling. So, he started training in boxing pretty late and is now known as the best boxer in UFC.
But how old were you when you first started boxing?
17 years old.
That's fairly old. Like
Yeah.
when you think about how high level your striking is.
Of course it is.
Some champions may ignore this call, but Ilia is always looking for higher challenges to overcome. This is the power of ego. It's telling you that you're destined for something greater, and if you're willing to listen, you will act. That's why Ilia decided to move up to the lightweight division to face the monsters like Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira. If you think that Ilia can be the new king of the lightweight division, drop a like and get ready for the most crucial lesson. Ilia Topuria knows that depending on what you feed your ego, it can either destroy you or empower you. Just like you cannot grow muscle without taking enough protein, you cannot sharpen your instinctive ego if you feed it junk.
And he looked at your phone and he saw all these celebrities who would write to you on Instagram, and you were like, nah, I don't care. Like, there were so many unopened messages from celebrities, from famous people, from models, from things like that, and you're like, you're not even opening them because you said, I need to be focused.
Yeah, of course, I get a lot of DMs, but it's not like I don't care and this and that I respect every people who text me.
If a fighter like him begins to enjoy distractions, he will focus on what weakens him, which will undoubtedly lead to a downfall, similar to Conor McGregor. That's why Ilia feeds his ego by constantly getting better and better during training, by overcoming challenges, and by focusing on his actions. So, removing your distractions will greatly motivate you to focus on what truly matters in your life. Is it running 10 miles? Benching 200 pounds? Starting a successful startup? Feed your ego by achieving milestones in these different fields. And remember, the timing of your success doesn't matter. What truly matters is that you'll become addicted to constant improvement, a powerful weapon that fuels your growth. So feed your ego with your own actions, not distractions. If these lessons change the way you see ego, drop a like and subscribe. See you next time.